hello there, and welcome to FrankieSense and More. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming my guest, Koryn Greenspan. She's a professional certified pet loss bereavement specialist, a grief counselor, professional dog trainer, pet care, and business advisor. As the founder of the Parted Paw, one of the first pet loss bereavement support services in the country, she is committed to raising awareness about pet loss, as well as disenfranchised grief and helping workplaces foster empathy and understanding for grieving employees who are anticipating or currently grieving the loss of a beloved pet. Now, that's something special. I'm going to say up front, Koryn, that when it comes to animals, I might be even more emotional talking about them than I am about humans. So fair warning, audience, I'm going to try not to cry during this show, but no promises. I can't even watch animal movies, happy or sad, because I always cry. As far back as I can remember, I've always had a special relationship with animals, horses and cows and dogs, and I'm drawn to them and they're drawn to me too. I'm the person in the dog park that all the dogs run to say hello. And some people think it's strange, but I've always just talked to them. And in fact, as far back as I can remember, if I saw a dead animal on the road, I would pray for its soul and ask God to take it to a place where there was no more pain for them. My husband even wrote a song about that. It was kind of fun. So, Koryn, I think it's really brilliant that you had this idea to become a grief counselor for pet owners. But you must have an origin story about it. So what is it? How did it come about?
It's a big origin story, actually. So I've been working with pets professionally now for 15 to 20 years. It's my second company in the pet space. And in my first company, I spent a lot of time with pets and their families. And I would work with them as a trainer and in business, from puppy to walking to integration with family to coming home and all the things that come along with getting your puppy or bringing
Right.
home a baby. It's so exciting. And then when you're working with families for this amount of time, you see 360 care, and that includes passing of a pet. And as I was in that business and working the business and growing it, I really started to develop a connection to how connected people are to their pets. And then I started to see the really deep and profound emotional challenges people have when their pets pass away.
Oh, yeah.
And then in 2021, something really horrible happened to my family. My sister passed away
I'm
of a
so sorry.
glioblastoma. Yes, thank you. Brain cancer. She was 48. She died in my parents' home. We were there. It
Wow.
was it was trauma. What happened during that time is it became very clear and apparent how much support humans are given when a human passes away, as they rightfully should have. Your religion steps in if you have a religion. You have grief counselors. You have bereavement support from work. You have this beautiful cushioned space of how can we help? What can we do? We're here for you. And then a year later, I sold my company during that time. I sold my first company. A year later, my soul dog, Georgia, died. And her death was tragic. It did not honor her. And it affected like I was affected through my relationship at the time, professionally. And in that time, I noticed I didn't have support.
Yeah.
And it became one of these things where it was, I'm so sorry. Well, thank you. That means a lot, but that doesn't help me. And I felt really isolated and alone. And I thought, I know this now. I've lived it now. Now's a good time to go back to school, learn about this, get certified. And here we are at the Parted Paw.
I have to lighten the mood for a moment because I just had this little image. My beloved child Bongo died on my 65th birthday, or
Wow.
like planning for this big party, and it was just like, no, nothing's happening on
Um,
today, and it was really, really traumatic. He wasn't expected. I didn't expect it. He hadn't took off after a cat, broke his ACL. He was old. He was arthritis. Like it would have just been the cruelest thing to try to save him. And I thought, I don't know, but anyway, as you were talking, I had this thought: would people come and sit Shippa for a talk? Can you imagine?
Okay,
Do they? Do they? I mean, that would be hilarious in a way, but I just want to talk about him. Like, there's so many stories. Like he was our love child. Our kids were gone,
uh,
right? They're all gone, and he was our baby. And today, I mean, it's only 3 years later. I still look where he sat. I still think, oh, he loved going to that park. Oh, he really enjoyed that. He's always there. He doesn't go like I'm not over it. I don't know if I'll ever be over it. But
you're touching on something. I'm so sorry if I may. That's so
yeah,
important with grief and loss is we have this idea and we tell ourselves this with pet loss specifically. Why can't I get over it? I just have to get over it. We never get over the loss of our pets, just as we never really get over the loss of a person. And that's why you're feeling that way 3 years
but I almost feel
later.
even more for him. Like my dad,
Hmm.
who was my everything, passed within 3 months before him. And not that I don't think
Sorry.
of my dad, but and that was my greatest fear that they would both pass in the same year. Like, oh, please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Mhm.
And then they both did. But it's, I mean, even though I talk to my dad every day, I don't have that deep grief because I feel like he was older. It was okay. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but he didn't have a choice, and I had to make that choice for him to be, a human and give him that compassion because I didn't want him to go, but I had to. And so I did it in the very best way I could. And there's a vet who came to the home. She just
Oh,
specializes in that. It was beautiful. I made him a hamburger, fed him the hamburgers. She's giving him the injection, and we all just cuddled him and loved him, and said goodbye to him. And he looked so cute. But yeah, I mean, and I sat around with my dad when he was dying too. I was very fortunate to be able to be in that room and say goodbye to him. Unexpected, again, an unexpected death. And, it is really, really hard. But for something about the pets, for me, like it's just, and, my husband was not a dog person, but he got me the dog. He got me this dog. And I didn't know he was getting me a dog. And it was just like, oh, and I fell in love. I fell absolutely, irrevocably in love. And he did too. And I don't think he ever expected it. And a little while ago, I said, when you die, like, who would you want to meet you at the pearly gates or whatever? And he said, the dog. He would like him to come. And I thought, for somebody who doesn't love animals, like, that's
oh.
big. That's huge.
This happens so much. I've seen this time and time again. It's so interesting that you're saying this. It's the person who says they don't want the dog that becomes outside of everybody else who also is as close to the dog.
Yeah.
But that connection, and especially that first time you have a pet and you're the one who doesn't want it, and then you get it, that connection opens up the heart
Yeah,
because that's what pets do.
they do.
They open up our hearts in ways that humans don't. And I heard something that you said, which is so important, and a lot of things that you just said are very important.
Thank you.
Something that you said is, you know, I don't know why it feels different with my dad and it felt then with my dog. And part of the reason why, if I may, and let me know what you think, is your dad had his own life outside of you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like it's that
It's a
that
different dynamic.
relationship
Hmm.
has autonomy, it has its own wherewithal, and you connect with each other in a special certain way when you do that.
Yeah,
When you're with your dog or your cat, they you they are
it's
you are their
everything.
life. So when we lose that, we're not prepared for the depth and layers and the death is pet loss is very complicated. You mentioned something else, for example. You said, I just had to decide to let my dog like live or die. I just decided to put his life down. Other than assisted suicide,
Yeah.
there's really no other instance in life when we're doing
Wow.
this.
And it's such a big decision, and it's such a big, in a way, it's an honor, but you have to, it's not something that you take lightly. Like, I would not want somebody to say, oh, I don't want him anymore, so let's put him down. No, for
Of
me, it
course.
was like he's going to be in pain for a long time, and I do not want that for him at his age and stage of
Hmm.
life, right? But yeah, I think you're absolutely right that there is a big difference, and he was that child. He was that I had to look after every need. I had to give him his medication. I had to look after his walks. I had to look after like every little bit. I saw a video today on Instagram. It was a little puppy, a golden puppy. He was a golden retriever. It was a golden puppy. And it was like, just look at this guy's eyebrows because he's like very good at using his eyebrows for communication. And it was exactly my dog. Like I would look at him and it's just like a baby. It was
Oh,
like a baby, like when your baby cries or your baby has the mother knows what those are. Like people go, I don't know what I want, but I know exactly what that is, right? Or I know what they're saying. He was the same way. He would stand at the door and he'd look at you in a certain way. Go, oh, you need water. Or this way, oh, you want to go out. It was just that mental communication, silent communication, but the eyebrows or the eyes or the way he stood, that's what you get like a child. And he was a child to me. He was my baby.
I mean, it's language. It's this own
It is language.
language that exists between you and this beautiful creature that
Yeah.
exists to love you in any way that you show up for them.
Yeah.
It is priceless.
It
That
is.
experience, I've always maintained that pets, dogs, cats, whatever the pet is, makes humans more humane.
I agree.
And by opening that unlock in our heart is a gaping hole when they pass.
Yeah. It
And
makes me sorry. Like
no,
the
please.
other day I was, we were driving and people think, oh, animals don't have feelings or animals don't do this or animals do. But they are, I look at, there was a couple horses, they were in a field, but each one was by itself. They don't want to be, but they're a herd animal. They don't want to be by themselves. They want to communicate. I had a horse. His best friend was our bull. Like I lived on a farm. Like they were really good friends. They like to hang out together. They want to have a family of their own. Like they really do have this, they have friends and they like to play and they like to, they get angry at each other or whatever, but they have a life outside of the human too. But if you watch them, they are very much like us in a lot of ways.
That's first of all, that's so special. And that's so amazing that you got to witness that companionship of different kinds of animals in that way. And to your point of what you're speaking about, they just made a Brooklyn judge just um, decided that pets are now family.
I love it.
They're no longer property. And this speaks
Thank
towards what
goodness.
you're saying. So in
Hmm.
Ontario, however,
Mm.
pets are still considered property.
Wow.
They are not yet family. And this is a big distinction
Well, look how long
because
it
as
took for women to become not property.
I mean, well said, honestly, and women now, it's like there's so many things happening.
Yeah.
That is well said what you're saying. And if we're continuing along this thought of finally now pets, at least in New York, are seen as family,
Yeah.
it makes sense that society has such a really hard time allowing for support for grief. If we're working on a notion, especially in Canada, Ontario, that pets are property, this is really dialing into this theme of disenfranchised grief, and it's giving it a place of origin and where that
Yeah.
comes from. And it's completely unacceptable.
Well, look at COVID. How many people went out and got a pet during COVID because they were alone? They were lonely. They needed somebody. The somebody was the pet. And
Oh
so
my
all
goodness.
you have to do is
Yeah.
look at those statistics and take that and say, look, why did they do that? If they're not family or they're not, companions, what are they?
The puppy intake at my previous company during COVID, I had that company for 12, 13 years, was so profound. I have to tell you, it's exactly like to what you're saying, right? And then this is also touching into a conversation about generation and
Mm.
generational understanding about what pet is. So we're skipping generations, we're moving into different place. And as animals are becoming considered family, a la New York,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
we're having less and less children.
Mm.
And the generation that's adapting our pets as family is becoming more emotionally in tune to them for their existence and their emotional well-being and lifeline.
Well, the other thing on the other side of that, Corinne, sorry, is I've seen young couples who got a pet together because that was their pet child. Then they get
Hmm.
pregnant. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
that child overwhelms. And then the pet child is kind of like, not garbage, but you're definitely a second class citizen now.
That's a very interesting point, what you're saying. And it's very true. And it's hard to ingest that and to see it. And a challenge in the pet industry is there's so much judgment being thrown around all the time.
Mm.
And it is my personal belief and philosophy that whatever, especially as a professional in the industry, whatever somebody thinks about somebody else's decisions, it's not really right to judge about it. People have a right
That's right.
it, to make the decisions and do what they feel that they have to do. And it does happen, and it's painful to see. It is very painful to see. I agree.
Yeah.
People have to do, again, what they feel is right, though.
But I'm going to make a judgment here because I
Okay.
cannot
Okay.
stand to see people take their dog for a walk in a baby carriage. It's like that dog needs exercise.
Sorry, that's amazing. My parents, we were in the mall, they saw this and they were like, this is, and they love it. Well, I was raised on a farm too,
Yeah.
half time.
Yeah.
We love animals. This drives them bonkers. They're like, get
Yeah.
it out of the,
What
get
is
it.
it?
That's so funny. But this is what's happening now.
Yeah. It's
So the closer we
bizarre.
become, yeah, it is. This is new reality, by the way. So it may, yes, may be bizarre or however you want to call it,
Yeah.
new reality as we continue to indoctor this society of closeness to pet. If we are not providing the tools for emotional safety and awareness of pet loss in terms of a 360 holistic approach to pet care, we are
Yeah.
really, really, really doing a disservice to the emotional, mental, and physical repercussions of pet loss that it has on people.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you, I mean, I love this idea of you, working with corporations and, implementing the idea that, hey, they need some time off too. So they've just lost
Mhm.
somebody very important to them. Are you working with EAP programs to incorporate that into an EAP, or like how are you reaching out? Is it company by company? How are you doing that? I'm interested.
That's a really, really great question. I think the first piece with everything in relation to pet loss is education. So I'm doing a lot of education right now, and I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements. And I'm also doing a lot of one-on-one reaching out and communicating and really I'm trying to suss out where corporations are at. And you'd be surprised where there is actually wiggle room and space that's just starting to open here, right? So there's a lot of that that's going on right now. People are starting to reach out to me, which is
Oh, good.
incredible as well. And I also find there's something called compassion fatigue in the
Yes.
veterinary in
In
the pet space.
everything. I was
And
executive director of a
yes,
charity. I know about compassion fatigue.
amazing. Your
Yeah.
work that you've done is phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you.
It's really, really touching and incredible. So compassion fatigue is very real.
It is.
And I have a lot of vet clinics that are reaching out right now, and I'm in the process of working with their teams also. And there's a lot of work to be done in this space. So I'm approaching corporations, I'm booking speaking engagements, I'm doing a lot of education and clinics as well, is really where this space is going. And I have one-on-one clients, and that's really, inquiry is really picking up right now. And I also have, there's a lot of different things going
What would
on.
you say is the number one question you get as a skeptic, maybe, or on the other side as a pet parent? Like, what can you do for me? Or what would be like, do you think the number one, or
Well,
something you hear a lot?
I think from people, so that's a great question. It's twofold. From people who
Yeah.
don't have pets, people have actually laughed at me before. Like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They've been
Yeah.
like,
Of course.
"Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "Well, you don't have pets. That's cool. Sayonara,
Yeah. Your goldfish went
whatever."
down the toilet. Okay. I get
Exactly,
it.
right? And then the other side is people, wonderful humans like you who are like, "Yes, let's talk about it." And the question that I often get is, one of the questions is, "Where's my pet now?" This is a question I get. Another statement and another huge challenge that people really have to work around while in session or while doing inquiry is, I wish I had more time. Why didn't I have more time?
Mm,
And then the third category that becomes really, really challenging to navigate is the what if, I should have, and I could have list that goes
hmm
into pet loss.
hmm
Because we're dealing with a creature that can't communicate back. So the responsibility is making every single decision yourself. That is such a weight to bear. And that is something that after pet loss takes a lot of time, and a lot of space needs to be held for that
So when they ask you, where did he
dynamic.
go? Are they seriously asking you, like, did they go to heaven, or are they asking you, where do they cremate them, or what are they asking you in that question?
That's a good question. So I actually think what's happening when that question starts coming up, because that question happens at a certain point in the grief trajectory, is they're actually starting to ground themselves in something other than sadness. So
So
they're
is there a
seeking,
soul or?
so yeah, so they're seeking belief. They're seeking something other than their grief.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually want to know, is there a rainbow bridge?
Mm-hmm.
Did it cross over? Is my pet okay? And I'm not a pet clairvoyant,
Right.
obviously, because I do believe it's real, to be
Yeah.
honest, or degrees of it are.
Yeah.
But I have done a lot of research in this space, and they're really trying to grapple with them not being here. That's what it is. So they're trying to understand what happened because it's such a shock to their nervous
Yeah.
system and their mental dissonance with the passing of their pet.
Yeah.
So that's actually what's happening.
It's interesting. I mean, I was a metaphysical hypnotherapist for a while, and I have talked to people through past lives and people who have died. Um, you know, we all hear stories of people who died and come right back. There's a special
Yeah.
one of a friend of mine whose son had cancer. He died. Before he died, though, he would go over and he'd come back, and he was told to stay here until he died, kind of thing.
Wow.
But he met their dog. He met their dog, the mother's dog. Before he didn't know the mother's dog because he wasn't born yet. But he met the grandfather and the mother's dog, and he described the dog to her. She goes, "Oh my God, that's my dog." And so I have to say, yeah, they are there. They're where any of us go. Why wouldn't they be? Their souls. And but I don't think a dog becomes a human. I think a dog is a dog, and humans are
Yeah.
humans. And forever they shall probably be the same. I would think. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if anybody's going to go there, I've always
It's
said
gonna
dog backwards is God. Right?
That's right. I mean, those are the ones, those are the chosen ones, okay?
They
The
are.
dogs are the chosen ones. That is where they're going. And I also think that
I
there's
mean, I think they're angels. I think really do. I think they are angels. I really do. I think if you're going to have a angel walking around, it's in a dog form.
I agree with you. And I think this part about death is something that's really hard to process, is that you have to choose how you're going to believe.
Hmm.
Because that is so much of the grieving process is, where do you want to sit in all of this? How do you want to give yourself permission to show up for this trauma that you've now gone through? Where do you want your grief and this hole in your heart that's frankly always going to be there to some degree? This is the reality. How do you want to choose to be in it and grow and evolve and connect to it?
Yeah,
Because they are still here forever. I will like die on that cross, no pun intended to this conversation. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I
But
agree.
they're here.
They are here.
We have to figure out how we want them to be here when
And
they've
grief isn't
passed.
linear. That's the thing. It's not linear. You don't go from here to the end of the year and go, oh, okay, thank God that year's over and I don't have to think about this anymore. It hits you just like it hits you with anybody. It just hits you all of a sudden. One day you're driving and you go, oh my God, my doggy. You know,
Yeah,
it happens to me
that's a
all the
grief
time.
burst. That's actually called a grief burst. There's a term for it. These five stages of grief doesn't really, that's kind of an outdated model, kind of
Yeah.
like the BMI. We've learned we don't approach grief that way. That's not the function of it. And I personally believe that when we're having these moments of grief, after a long duration of time has passed, it's love. Grief is misplaced love.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity there to really connect. Because maybe if we're talking about pets in a soul space, maybe that's your pet speaking to you. Maybe that's your pet wanting you to think about them.
Hmm.
Because you're going to carry your pet with you always.
Yeah.
And it's about it again, it goes back to this idea and conversation of how you want to do that.
Like even yesterday, like it was so hot here in Toronto, right? It's been very hot the
Yes, it's
past
been
couple of days.
crazy.
We actually got air conditioning because of my dog. Like
Hmm.
I live in a home that doesn't have, you can't get central air, but we got this unit because he was so big and hot. And I thought, oh, I'm doing this. I didn't turn it on, but I'm going to turn this on for you. Like the thought was there. I'm going to turn it on because he's not comfortable.
Of course.
Like, I mean, people look at me like I'm nuts, but
Why? That's
I mean, I see
completely the
him where
right thing to do.
yeah, I see him behind the couch or behind where he used to like to hide out during the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And he liked to have that cold air on him. And I think, yeah, and love the snow. Every time it snows, like, oh, he would have loved today. Like, I
No,
just think that
exactly. He's with you.
he's with me all the time.
There's a huge, that's one thing I would love for every pet parent who's processing pet loss to know is that there will be a time where you can reconcile their loss.
Hmm.
And that happens when we start to connect to the passing and ground ourselves in acknowledgement of the passing and really understand that they're still here.
Yeah.
And they're here in our thoughts and they're here in our heart. And that can never be replaced with a new dog. Getting a new pet after pet loss is a huge conversation.
Yeah.
Huge guilt
Yeah.
and pet loss is a huge conversation.
Yeah. You
You
cannot
know,
replace a child with another child.
no, but we're not meant to. That's not,
Yeah.
you
And they're
know,
not going to be the
that's,
same. And people be disappointed. Like I had a friend who got another golden after the best she ever had, right? And this dog
yeah.
was a terror. He ate walls, he ate everything. And
Sorry,
it
it's
was like, she
funny.
goes, he's not like my other dog. Well, no. Why would
They're
he
not
be?
supposed to be. You know, our dogs are these magical creatures that come into our lives and Corinne believe from experience and personal experience and professional, they come into our lives for a certain amount of time and they connect to the piece of our heart and ourselves that needs to evolve during that time.
Mhm.
When we have evolved with them through that time, that is when it is their time to go. And that is something we have no control over.
Yeah. How many dogs
I
have you
always get
seen?
emotional.
Yeah. How many
Sorry,
dogs
I
have you
always
seen
get
that are
emotional.
like, of course, I just started Europe too. How many dogs have you seen in families that, or even in individuals? I mean, they say, people tend to look like their dogs, but I think dogs tend to take on the emotion of the family too. Like, I had my son had a crazy dog. We had a very calm dog because we're very calm people. Like, I just
Yeah,
think, that they take on that persona, maybe.
I have always said, and I learned this, I clocked this very quickly at the start of my career. If you want to know about a family, get to know the dog. The dog will tell you every single thing you need to know
Yeah,
about the family, and I will maintain that till the end of my
there you
days.
go.
It
I
is
think you're right. Yeah.
they just absorb it, and they communicate it in such a more profoundly clear way than humans do. They just show it.
Yeah.
So they wear it. And there's something very special. Again, this is something that's so special about these beautiful creatures.
Yeah. My younger son, he's got the last dog in the family now. And
Okay.
the three dogs, my dog and my other son's dog and the younger son's dog, they would always go out to the forest and they
Yeah.
would, play, they go swimming in the lake, they would do stuff together. And now
Mhm.
those two are gone and he's the last
Oh,
surviving. And my son said to me, I think last time he was here, he goes, "Do you think he misses them, or do you think he knows they're not here?" I go, "Well, yeah, of course he knows they're not here. They're not here." But I wonder
of
how
course.
profoundly he knows they're not here. Like it's kind of interesting. But we always look at him like, "Oh, you're the last one. Like when you go, it's going
Um,
to happen." Because one doesn't want another dog because it was so much grief, and I get that. I want another dog. I'm ready, but
yeah.
my husband doesn't. I don't think we will. But you know what? It's a big loss not to have.
It's a really big loss. It's a big adjustment as
Yeah.
well. Like to adjust to, not there's identity loss that we really endure with pet loss that people
Yeah.
really, I just did a TikTok about it yesterday. I get loss of identity with our pets is so tangible. And it's tangible because we tangibly give our pets their lives every single day. We wake up, we feed them, we take
Yeah.
them out. We go, so we absorb all of those beautiful parts of them and we embody them in our own lives. And then when your pet passes away, all of those daily physical,
Yeah.
tangible actions are gone. The sounds are gone. The smells are gone. So as we go into the layers and depth and profoundness of pet loss, it is continually shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
even the other
just
day, I looked, oh, does he need water? Like as I passed the kitchen.
exactly. It's because and what is shocking about this, in addition to this, what you just said, is how society has the gall. I really do think it's like kahunas here,
Yeah.
chutzpah,
Yeah.
to ignore this in the way that it does. And to put guilt on top of guilt. Like people actually, a lot of what I work with clients as well is people feeling guilty for the depth of their sadness. I've never heard of anything crazier, and I'm going to use that word, which I never use,
It
but to
is.
actually,
Like, why wouldn't you feel
induce
that
that.
depth of grief? And I'm sure on the other side of that coin are people go, you're just ripping people off,
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know what?
right? Like you're
Totally.
like, what do you do for them? Like, yeah, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of
Yeah,
it
for
because
sure.
they don't understand it.
You'd be surprised though. So I've been doing this. This is a new-ish company. And I've been doing this for work, as we know, a long time working with pets.
Hmm.
I have found such a beautiful community in this space of practitioners, of a team. Like I've found, given to your question at the beginning of our time together, can I do a Shiva? I know a funeral home.
Really, they do it.
Yeah, I know I work with a funeral home, meaning we're in partnership together. Tales Farewell. She's incredible. And she does aquamation. It's a different form of cremation. And funeral home is there. In-home mobile hospice is another great company, right? There's Home Pet Nurse
I
now.
love
There's another
that.
company that they go to the home. If I had that for Georgia, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine the trajectory of her passing and what that would have been. So I think we're seeing real embers of change here. It's moseying along at a speed that is not congruent with the
Yeah.
depth and level of connection we
I
have
think
with
it's
pets.
hard to have your pet be euthanized at the vets. It's sterile. They don't like the smell there. They're not used to, they've always been afraid to go there. They get bad things happen there. And so to have them be able to pass in their own home on their own bed with their loving family and the smells of it's much more comfortable, I'm sure, for them. And the vet that I had was so sweet and just so understanding of the family, of the dog,
Oh,
of everything. It was really quite beautiful. And giving you the choices where your dog can go. Do you want it cremated? Do you want it in a community grave with other dogs? You can go visit them, or do you want an urn? Like, I mean, I still have two in an urn, and I feel really bad about it. I'm like, I should release those dogs, but I don't know.
the, the the topic of vet and pet loss is a very big topic. It's sticky. There's some stickiness there. Um, this kind of touches into anticipatory grief and the challenges people have. I had a client, as an example, they called and they were in, a lot of clients call and they're like up the curtain and around the corner. It's heightened
Yeah,
emotion, right? Like, I don't know, short of the long, I'm going to try. Sorry. Um, do I put my dog down or not? I don't know what to do. GI issues, da 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 da. I said, okay, listen, there's actually something we can do. It's called a quality of life scale. Quality of life scale. If you have a higher than a 35, your dog's in good standing. If it's lower than a 35, you have decisions you have to make. We
yeah.
went through the scale. The dog was at a 47.
Oh,
Great. Because we did that, this ties to the vet conversation. It's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
tangent. So because we did that, this person and got decided to keep their dog alive, who's fine now. It was actually just GI issues. The vet, though, didn't take the time to
Mm.
provide that information to them. So it's almost a situation where why didn't the vet take the extra time to have that
But doctors
communication?
aren't either. There's a lot of doctors in the same thing that they just
A
fluff it off.
hundred
They
percent.
don't.
But
They're
why? No, but why?
yeah. I know. Well,
Isn't there
money.
an ethical quotient here? Like,
You would think. You would hope.
so
You would.
it's a really big, because we're talking life or death here. He could have ended her life too soon.
Yes.
And he would have been distraught, being like, was it too soon or not? Because this is a
But
lot of challenge in pet loss.
the other part, though, Corinne, that I really, really hate is that their life is tied to money. It's a financial decision a lot of the times,
I
and
know.
you don't have the $10,000 to fix them. Well, I'm just going to put them down there. That's wrong.
I know.
There has to be something for those situations, because I think it's just ridiculous, the amount of money that vets ask for some things, and that you would be expected to to pay to. I know my son did it, and they said, well, it could happen again in another 6 months or a year or whatever. Well, I don't have 20 grand. But you're going to try to, if you love them, you're going to try to do everything that you can. You could have bought, he needed a car. Instead of buying a car, he gave his dog surgery that didn't even work. But the point is, like, this huge financial investment is the life or death answer. That's wrong. It shouldn't even come into it,
Uh,
in my opinion.
I am stumped for words, which is very rare because I agree. And to cite another example, there's a person, they needed a CT scan. They were insured. Here's where it gets really layered, okay? This person was insured, and the CT scan was going to be $7,000, and the insurance wouldn't cover it.
Wow.
And they had to put down their dog.
Wow.
Like, ethics, hello. And
Yeah.
I've come to understand, and I have to think this in order to function. Things are done with in good intention. I have to believe it. I just have to. Whether that's the case or not, we can know the truth of it or not. I've learned I have to believe it.
Mm.
But there has to be, that's not right.
No. I mean, I had a puppy. She was about a year, little young, maybe 9 months. She got out, ended up getting hit, broke her leg. Now, I had a very
Oh,
young family at the time. It was going to cost $750. 750 is a lot, was a lot of
it's a
money for
lot.
me at that
Yeah, of
time of my life.
course.
And it was like, well, we could put her down or we could fix her leg. The fix her leg at 750. Well, of course I'm going to fix her leg. She's only not even a year old. I go, is she
Right.
going to walk? She could be okay? Yeah. Okay. Fine. We fix her leg. But that he gave me that decision to put her down or fix a broken leg, like that's not even a choice to me. It's like ridiculous.
It's sticky. See, this is where it gets very, very, I agree with you.
I
And I
understand
wonder,
it costs money to go through medical school. I was going to be a vet and veterinary school, but
wow,
you have to think as a veterinarian, like you get into it because you love animals, you would hope. And how do you justify that you wouldn't put a cast on them because this young family couldn't afford it? Like, it just really bothers me. I guess because I'm so much into social impact and I'm like, I just give money away because I can do it. But even when I couldn't do it, I do it, because I believe that money comes back to you. And I think that when you
yeah.
give, you go, well, you know what? It's like, I don't need to eat 3 meals today. I can eat 2 meals and they can have a meal too. Like,
That's very beautiful. This is like the idea of karma, in my opinion. I
mm,
think we work really hard for our karma, right? So this idea of giving away money, it comes back. That's a conscious decision. That's an elevated insight. It's a beautiful act of kindness. And this is in the shoresh, the root of karma,
yeah,
in my opinion. And it begs a really good question in terms of how and why and where can we start making these changes in the veterinary. This also ties into compassion fatigue. A lot of times, and I just did a podcast on this with Ganilla. I just posted on my LinkedIn.
I saw that. Yeah.
She's amazing. It does tie into this question of vets end up absorbing the sadness, and so they almost turn it off. They almost are forced to turn off the
Yeah.
compassion.
Yeah.
And that's very valid. I just have to say that it's not easy to think about or to comprehend. It's a complex thought, but it is very valid. So we need to do this differently. Is the whole structure of this is no longer sustainable.
Yeah.
And it starts with going into the veterinarian clinics and it starts with you, and thank you so much for having me here, having these conversations. It starts with outreach and education because that's not, why are we getting insured if you're not going to cover
Yeah.
the CT scan? What, that's lunacy.
That is lunacy. Like I mean, I know that I had a friend, she had a new puppy, so she was able to insure that puppy right from the very
Yeah,
start,
of
right? I mean, you
course.
get an older dog, they're not going to insure you. So
Right.
she had this insurance and she was going to this place that was very expensive anyway. She goes, oh, I got it all covered. And I remember my son with his dog, because I took his wife, the puppy he had growth on his paws and he was
Yeah.
little and he had surgery. Well, they did surgery on the wrong paw. And I'm like, how the hell did you guys do surgery on the wrong paw? Did you not see that this paw has something and this paw doesn't?
Oh my
And this
gosh.
was a very expensive veterinary clinic and they still charged them money. And I'm like, they're not paying for that. Like they were young, right? I go, mama goes in, they're not paying for this. A, they're not paying for
Ah,
this.
girl.
Now you're making
Yeah.
this dog have anesthesia a second time to get what you should have fixed the first time. And so why didn't you care? Like, it's just a money industry for
So,
them.
so why didn't you care? And I'm following, tracking everything, but also, where's the emotional understanding and wherewithal and
Yeah.
support for the pet owner?
Yeah.
That is not constructed into consideration during these really divisive, like really, really challenging
You want to charge me
moments.
$2,500 for a surgery that they on the wrong thing? Give me a break. Like,
Give me a
no.
break, first of all.
Yeah.
That's lawyer work. In my
We're so
opinion, that's when you
sorry.
contact a
Yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a malpractice. Um, I mean, even Georgia, I was with a previous, I love my vet now. We were with a previous vet, and community kind of stays with community. It's this weird
Yeah.
thing that we do. Even though you know it's not kind of feeling right, you kind of end up staying. So I blame myself for this.
Mhm.
She tore her ACL. They got in there and she was 85% torn.
Oh, jeez.
And okay, and I opened my previous company for her. She was an abused dog. Okay, so we were
Mm.
together. Georgia, okay. But I was going there for like a year before. And I need, can you please look at her? She's holding her, something's not right. No,
Yeah.
she's fine. All of the things and da da da. And again, and then so I took her and they found it. And it's like, are you kidding? How do you,
Miss
it's
it.
very hard. How do you miss it? How do you,
And
again, but then again, things do happen.
yeah, but
Working
we're,
with animals.
women are intuitive. And when you
Yeah,
have a pet, you're usually intuitive towards what they're feeling. You have to be because you're doing the
yeah,
silent communication. And I do believe that they speak to you in your head.
of
And
course.
that was wrong. That was totally wrong. And that should never have happened. And the fact that it did happen,
Please, excuse me.
and
Sorry.
the other part of that too, like people got mad at me because I was giving him arthritis medication. But you know what, Corinne? When I gave him that medication, I saw him go, because I deal
I,
with chronic pain. I know what it feels like. I was a motorcycle accident. I know how badly
wow.
you live with it. And he was just like, oh, that feels so much better. I don't care what if you're going
Sometimes
to judge me for giving him
I,
medication.
I agree. So I don't, sometimes medical vet care and pets, it's very, very, very interesting. I don't understand. Here's what I can say about it. I'm with a vet now whereby and I never had this before, and a lot of my clients haven't had it either, okay? But this is the first time. There's an issue, you call them. They have a three-step process. You can have a phone call, you can bring them in, you can send a picture. Like every option is given to client,
Yeah.
okay? And from that place, you're giving client autonomy and you're showing you're still there. I have chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so then they actively show up for whatever option you choose. They ask you about all the array of tests that can be done. Then they say, this is what you need to do. Here's more, here's less.
Yeah.
And then they say, here, what do you want to
My
do?
vet did that too. And he even gave you the option of the medication. This medication is less money, but he has to be on it for longer, or this one will do it in a day. It's more expensive. Like, yeah. And I appreciated that. Really
That's
did.
an amazing vet. And I get asked about vets a lot in inquiry or dealing with anticipatory grief, deal with a lot of anticipatory grief
Yeah.
in my company, and I always say to them, keep going until you find the place that's right for you.
Yeah.
Keep going
I
until
let
you
my
receive the
dog,
care.
I let my dog choose. I walked in and out of
Oh, I love
places
that.
too. I did. I walked
Oh,
in
I
and out.
love that.
Yeah.
That's
Because he knew.
brilliant.
He knew. He knew who he liked and what felt
Yeah,
good.
they know. They know, and they do almost know that it's a place they have to go to.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice. There's times where they have to go there. So you may as well just deal with it, kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
gotta go to the
You gotta
doctor.
go.
You gotta go get everything checked out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a big conversation.
So I'm curious about let's go back to the companies for a second, because what are you asking them to do? Like how much time off, or is it paid
Yeah.
time, paid leave, 7 days, 5 days, 2 days? Like what are you asking them?
So the structure that I'm trying to implement actually is 3 to 5 days off, I think HR needs some communication and training about how to actually respond
Hmm.
to somebody who's lost a pet. I have clients who have just said I've had a personal loss because they're too embarrassed to say it's a pet,
Yeah.
or they can't afford to take 3 days off. So they say because they know it's in their package. I really think there's communication that in advance. I also think there's a lot of work that can happen in a corporate setting where if you space can be created for anticipatory grief. I'm trying to structure pet loss differently in society as a
Yeah.
whole. And so in anticipatory grief, if you can call HR and be like, I'm putting my dog down at this time, at this day, I know I'm going to need 3 days off. Can you
Hmm.
provide it to me? This is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that I'm trying to institute is, we have wellness programs at organizations and companies.
Yeah.
Put the Parted Paw on service. Retain the Parted Paw for
Hmm.
3 counseling sessions
Hmm.
for your team. This is also goes back to your corporate environment and your internal network and management. And if you show support for something as vital as pet loss, you are going to retain 100% of your
Yeah.
employees. Whereas and this is important
You're talking
because of the
heart-centered business now, and that's what is happening. And that I think you're starting to get into seeing more and more businesses wanting to be heart-centered, incorporating both. You have the left and the right. You can have, the heart and the business structure, but they work together. They can work together just like men and women can work together. You just have to, they're not equal. They're different, but they can work together.
I literally just gave me chills, Frankie, and that's people. Yes, it is heart-centered work, and there is nothing wrong
Empathy and emotional
taking
intelligence.
with empathy, taking great care, and unwrapping that in your business too.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that because our professional lives dictate so much of our personal life.
Like, how
And
much
so
do you
how
think that person who's coming to work is going to have their 100% on their work or selling to their clients or whatever when they're grieving? They're not. So you may as well just give them that time off so
give
they
them
can
the
heal.
time? And they're going to love you and they're going to feel so supported. And if you provide them, like people, like organizations provide their team with coaches. Like
Yeah.
I'm a professional, I'm a certified
I
coach
am
too.
a certified
With
coach too.
coach, I know
Yeah.
I saw that. It's amazing. So they provide them this.
Yeah.
Why aren't you providing a counseling service for when pet loss
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah.
I don't know. I cognitively, like foundationally, fundamentally,
Yeah.
don't understand.
No.
Because this is how you lose employees. This is how people clear out of buildings because team members see this and they think, geez, look at what this company just made my coworker. Look at what they went through.
And
You're
yet
doing yourself a
there's
disservice.
companies, like Shopify who have personal chefs that give you home cleaning. Maids come to your house because they want you to sit at your desk longer. If you can take care of that for them, then they're going to work harder. They offer lots of different stuff, but they need to consider, okay, I don't want the chef. I'll take the dog. you know,
That's brilliant. That's a good way to do it. They can pick and choose even. That's a really brilliant thought towards it.
it's
I
just like
just,
having daycare, right? Like daycare. Can I have daycare for my dog at work so I can take him out on a break so I don't
well,
have to leave him
yeah.
alone? Like that would be great. That would make me feel much better coming to work. Or can I just stay home and work from home so I can take him out and do those things? There's so many solutions and options that would make people work better.
That would
They,
make them work better. The loyalty,
yeah,
but also I think there's something to be said for really I'm going to get emotional again. Please forgive me, is the gratitude that comes along when people support you for pet loss. It's like sent from above the way that feeling is. And
yes,
I experience this with my clients. They turn to me or people who I have a nice little community that's growing in different
yeah,
places and they're so thankful to be seen.
yeah.
That's so beautiful. And it really begs the question, why do they have to fight to be seen in their pain? Because society doesn't deem pet loss important?
Mm,
That's no. That's a hard no.
yeah. I agree. I mean, people say, well, I don't like cats and dogs. They're not my thing. Okay. They don't have to be your
Doesn't
thing.
have to be your thing. It's somebody else's thing.
That's right.
It's somebody else's, and that somebody
Something will
else
be your thing and
matters.
you want somebody to, be there for you
Yeah,
and something else. So yeah, 100%. That's a brilliant, it's really brilliant. I love the whole idea of it. I think, you're doing a real big service for people. And
thank
I
you.
really, really hope that, I don't know, are you training more pet bereavement coaches? Is that going to be your future? Like, what do you see?
That's a great question. I see
Ethical,
a
ethical, behavior specialist or pet
I see
bereavement
a bit. I
specialist.
actually, the way that people are gravitating towards this and the outreach, and I see a really big future for this actually. So I put together a guide, a workbook and guide for purchase. It's on my website. Um, I see this really growing. I want this to be standard practice in care for a company and organization, at least here in North America, and take it wherever else that it can. I think there's a lot of change and integration and nourishment and space for support that can really be created. And, there's this really great saying, and it goes, you're on the right path when the path goes away.
Mm,
It's where I am right now. So
it's
I'm just
beautiful.
swimming. Yeah, it is. It was, I thought it was beautiful when I heard it too.
Yeah.
I'm swimming. I'm swimming on my non-path right now, and it's taking me somewhere. So
Good for you.
thanks,
I
Frankie.
see big things for you. I really do. Thank you,
I
Facebook people. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I think it was absolutely amazing and necessary, very
Thanks,
necessary in
Frankie.
today's
Thanks for
time. I
having
think,
me on.
oh, it's my pleasure. Okay, I'm just going to say goodbye to Facebook and we're going to say goodbye to record.